The US and Russia are immersed in an information war about the unexpected engineering mission in the Black Sea region, near Ukraine. In the midst of this, the two countries continue to issue their own statements and positions. Social media sites have spread a video that is said to capture the drone of the United States hovering over the Black Sea before drop down. As noted by Newsweek, multiple Twitter posts on March 15 included a video. As noted by Newsweek, multiple Twitter posts on March 15 included a video. An account named Tendar posted the clip and received 142,000 views. This account said that one of the Russian pilots returned to the US MQ-9 UAV while flying close to it. At the same time, the Pentagon also reported that the Russian fighter jet flew around my UAV several times before intentionally hitting it. Another user named Captain_Navy also posted a similar video and captioned it, "A view of the US UAV from the cockpit of a Russian plane." This post has received 148,000 views. Newsweek said it has yet to determine when and where this viral clip was filmed, and cannot verify whether this is an American MQ-9 UAV. According to Newsweek research, the video originates from a Telegram account in Russia, named Fighter Bomber, which has up to 294,000 followers. The owner of this account appeared on Russian television after posting the video. However, this person did not confirm anything about the incident. On March 15, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin contacted his Russian counterpart Sergei Shoigu to discuss the U.S. drone crash in the Black Sea due to a collision with a Su-27 fighter jet of Russia. This is the first time the defense ministers of the two powers have contacted each other after months of disagreement over Moscow's military campaign in Ukraine. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, Shoigu told Austin that it was an incident caused by a U.S. drone violation into restricted airspace. This is an airspace commonly used by the military, in which air traffic must be restricted or prohibited because of safety or security concerns. Shoigu called the flight of the U.S. drone near the coast of Russia a provocative act and poses a risk to the Black Sea region. Shoigu said, "Russia does not want to cause escalation, and the two countries must act responsibly." Shoigu also said that Moscow is always ready to open military channels to discuss this incident. Speaking at the Pentagon later, Austin confirmed that he had a call with the Russian Defense Ministry. "It's important that the two countries have dialogue and transparent discussions about the collision in the Black Sea," he said. At the same time, Austin affirmed that U.S. drones will continue to operate anywhere international law allows. According to information from AP News, the last time these two ministers contacted each other was in October 2022. After the U.S. UAV crashed into the Black Sea, Washington criticized the Russian pilots for acting aggressively and unprofessionally. Meanwhile, the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Antonov, said that the U.S. UAV has no duty to hang around the Black Sea area, an already very sensitive place due to the ongoing Russian-Ukrainian conflict. Secretary of the Russian Security Council, Nikolai Patrushev, announced that Moscow will make efforts to recover the debris of the U.S. MQ-9 Reaper UAV in the Black Sea. At the same time, Patrushev also pointed out that the recent collision is a sign that the U.S. is directly involved in the Ukrainian battlefield. Appearing on Rossiya 1 channel on March 15, the official said that he did not know if Russian authorities had recovered the UAV debris, but that finding the debris and studying it was very important. Patrushev added, "The U.S. still claims that it is not directly involved in the war in Eastern Europe. However, the drone incident over the Black Sea serves as another proof that they were directly involved in the conflict." The U.S. National Security Council confirmed that the MQ-9 drone was only flying in international airspace and had a reconnaissance mission, not carrying offensive weapons. Council spokesman John Kirby told CNN, "I'm not sure if the U.S. will be able to recover the debris because it has sunk so deep into the Black Sea." Also related to the collision between Russia and the U.S. in the Black Sea, recently, Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani said that event will worsen the tense situation between Moscow and Washington. Tajani also called on the West and Russia to act more carefully to avoid such direct collisions. The U.S. side accused the Russian fighter of intentionally pouring fuel on the U.S. UAV and crashing it, causing it to fall into the Black Sea. But the Russian side claimed that this UAV crashed due to a sudden change in flight direction. Sharing on Sky TG24 channel, Tajani pointed out that although Russia and the U.S. both have tough stances on the incident, the two countries still do not let the situation further escalate. However, Tajani warned, in the current sensitive context, the situation could escalate just because of an incident or aggressive action of an individual. To avoid a bad scenario, we need to be cautious in areas near the borders of NATO and Europe, he said. The Secretary of State's comments came after National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told CNN, Washington doesn't want the conflict in Ukraine to escalate to a level beyond what's happened to the Ukrainians. Back to the developments on the Eastern European battlefield. Recently, Ukraine's President, Volodymyr Zelensky, announced that the country will strengthen its forces in the strategic city of Bakhmut. In his nightly address on March 15, President Zelensky talked about the decisions made during his meeting with top military officials a few days earlier. According to the leader, Bakhmut and Khortytsa, the largest islands on the Dnieper River, part of the city of Zaporizhia now controlled by Ukraine, remain the main focus of the country's army. The clear position of the entire general staff is to increase aid in this direction, causing maximum damage to the enemy, Zelensky stressed. Despite Russia's massive offensive efforts, the Ukrainian president repeatedly insists they will not give up Bakhmut. In an interview with CNN last week, the leader said the Battle of Bakhmut was tactically significant for Ukraine and that Russia's capture of this stronghold would give them an open path to advance into the regions other that Ukraine controls in the Donbass. Meanwhile, Russia's TASS news agency recently quoted an expert as saying that the Ukrainian army may turn the Azovstal metal processing factory in Bakhmut into a fortified fortress similar to the factory Azovstal Steel during the battle at Mariupol almost a year ago. Yen Gagin, a military political expert and an advisor to the leader of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, DPR, said, "The Azovstal factory is a large industrial area with a tunnel system interlaced. Some locations are hundreds of meters deep. In terms of complexity to carry out an offensive operation, this is equivalent to the Azovstal factory in Mariupol." According to him, if Ukraine turns the Azovstal plant into a second Azovstal, Russia will be forced to conduct a similar combat effort as last year. In this scenario, there is absolutely no need to try to push the opponent out of position. Direct attacks are unnecessary, Gagin said. Azovstal is the last stronghold of Ukrainian forces in the port city of Mariupol. In May last year, thousands of Ukrainian soldiers surrendered after nearly 3 months of siege. Azov was built in 1954 in the city center of Bakhmut. The facility has its own communication system, water source, and generator. Recently, a Ukrainian official has voiced that the West is stimulating Ukraine to cross the red line of President Putin and attack to retake the Crimean Peninsula. The information was posted by Russia's RT station. Tamila Tasheva, an official representing the Crimean Peninsula, told the Daily Beast that Western leaders have changed their tune when it comes to Ukraine being able to take back the region. Meanwhile, Putin sees the peninsula as the ultimate limit of the current conflict. "We heard from Western leaders that it was inevitable that Ukraine would attack to take back the Crimean Peninsula," Tasheva said. "It could even pose a risk of nuclear conflict." However, Tasheva did not name specific Western leaders who supported Kiev's liberation of Crimea. The official added, "The European position change came after we explained what the Crimean Peninsula is to Ukraine and what role it plays for Russia." In February, Politico reported that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken chaired a meeting with experts and said that Putin's last red line was Crimea, as the leader viewed the peninsula part of Russia, not Ukraine. In contrast, President Zelensky has repeatedly declared Crimea to be Ukraine's territory and the Kiev army will regain all sovereignty. While Tasheva did not mention any leader, Newsweek quoted U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Victoria Nuland as saying in February, "Russia has turned Crimea into a major military base. Ukraine will attack there. And we support this." Recently, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said that Beijing noticed an abnormality when Western media published another information about the Nord Stream pipeline explosion. Specifically, last week, Western newspapers quoted a source from the U.S. as saying that a pro-Ukrainian group may have blown up fuel pipelines under the Baltic Sea. During a press conference on March 15, Wang affirmed that the disruption of this important pipeline has seriously affected the global energy market and the ecosystem. China wants an objective, impartial, and professional investigation. When asked to comment on the so-called Ukrainian theory, Wang pointed to the sudden change in Western media after a month of investigative journalist Seymour Hersh claiming that the US and Norway were behind the road sabotage. Nord Stream tube. "We found the West silent when this journalist accused the US," Wang said. But now, they are speaking out at the same time about the explosion of a pipeline by a pro-Ukrainian group. They are acting abnormally. What is hidden behind this explosion? A day earlier, Russian President Vladimir also said that Denmark was very vague when Moscow asked to open a joint international investigation to find out why the Nord Stream pipeline leaked fuel into the Baltic Sea. Putin has denied that a pro-Ukrainian group has sabotaged TE pipeline. Speaking at a press conference with Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson on March 15, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that Sweden and Finland's accession to NATO is extremely important for European security. Europe. Our goal is to get this done quickly so that Sweden can become a NATO member, Scholz said. It's good for both Sweden and NATO, he added. We need cooperation in the North Atlantic for the security of Europe. Meanwhile, Kristersson said he hoped Sweden would be quickly ratified to join NATO after the election in Turkey. On March 15, two Turkish officials said that the Turkish parliament most likely will approve Finland's application to join NATO before mid-April. A senior official said Finland's application would be approved independently of Sweden, which applied to join the Western Military Alliance at the same time as its Nordic neighbor after Russia launched war on Russia epidemic in Ukraine last year. Former President of the United States, Donald Trump, has started his campaign for the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Recently, former NATO Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen said that Donald Trump's return to U.S. politics could cause a catastrophic geopolitical battle because of his views about the Russian-Ukrainian war. Rasmussen told Politico that if Trump becomes U.S. president for a second time, that will affect the aid packages that Washington is giving to Kyiv. The comments by the former NATO Secretary General came after Trump told Fox News that fighting Russia in Ukraine was not in the strategic interests of the United States. Trump has vowed to talk to President Putin about the Ukraine crisis if he successfully runs for office in 2024. Rasmussen predicted that billionaire Donald Trump would lose if he continued to show no support for aid to Ukraine because this war has lasted for more than a year. Rasmussen described Mr. Trump's policy as a capitulation. "I would call this a geopolitical catastrophe. Trump becomes president," he said. "Because he will destroy aid packages the billionaire's thinking will lead America down the wrong political path. I hope from global issues, not just conflict in Eastern Europe, that Republicans will nominate a presidential candidate who is able to maintain leadership world of America," Rasmussen noted, instead of Trump or any of Trump's followers. Rasmussen is a former Prime Minister of Denmark, serving as NATO Secretary General from 2014 to 2019. He also lobbied for President Joe Biden and the U.S. Congress to increase arms aid to Kyiv. On March 15, the company that operates the social network TikTok, ByteDance, revealed to Reuters that the administration of President Joe Biden had threatened to ban TikTok if the company did not divest. Earlier, The Wall Street Journal also reported on this move by Washington, in the context of U.S. concerns that China's TikTok application collects user data. Currently, about 100 million Americans are using TikTok. In 2020, former President Donald Trump once ordered a complete ban on TikTok in the U.S., but the plans were postponed. TikTok spokesperson Brooke Oberwetter told Reuters, "We have heard that the U.S. Treasury Department wants to ask ByteDance to sell its existing shares or else TikTok will face a ban in the U.S." According to the Wall Street Journal, the current share of TikTok is as follows: foreign investors account for 60%, employees are 20%, and the remaining 20% belong to the founders. Oberwetter stated, "If the goal of the U.S. when banning TikTok is to ensure national security, then share sharing does not solve this problem. Switching owners also does not limit the collection of user data." The White House declined to comment on the report. On March 15, Chilean President Gabriel Boric announced that he would tighten security at the northern border to reduce the flow of illegal immigrants. In an effort to improve infrastructure and surveillance, Boric said the Chilean government would diplomatically work with Bolivia and Venezuela to get the two countries back to the migrants deported from Chile. Chile's priority is to protect the border and ensure that migration is safe and orderly, he said at a border event. This must also meet the needs of the country. Boric said the current regulatory system is the biggest obstacle to exporting criminals to Chile. Since February, Chile has deployed 600 troops to the northern border to join police forces to control the flow of people crossing the border. The Chilean leader stated that this government effort is also aimed at dealing with criminal organizations specializing in human trafficking, drug and weapons smuggling. Reuters reported that gas explosions occurred at 6 adjacent coal mines in central Colombia. At least 11 workers are confirmed dead, while 6 others are still trapped at depths of about 700 to 900 meters. The incident happened late on March 14 in the rural area of Sudataza, 75 kilometers north of the capital, Bogotá. About 10 people were rescued or luckily escaped. Currently, the authorities are actively carrying out rescue work at the scene. Colombian President Gustavo Petro said in a Twitter post, "We are making a concerted effort with local authorities to rescue those trapped." In Colombia, serious accidents often occur in both open and underground coal and gold mines. The main reason is due to illegal activities or no safety measures. According to the National Mining Administration, the mines that have just occurred have legal operating licenses. The last worst coal mine accident in Colombia was in June 2010. 73 people were killed in a coal mine explosion in the northwest of the country. At least 10 people have been killed after torrential downpours caused flash floods in the provinces of Şanlıurfa and Adıyaman, southeastern Turkey. The information was published by the Anadolu News Agency on March 15. Images taken in Şanlıurfa show fast-moving floodwaters washing away vehicles, flooding some buildings and turning many streets in the city center. Turkey's National Disaster Response Agency, AFAD, said that search and rescue efforts for those missing and trapped in buildings are still being rushed with the participation of workers. Diving and lifeboats. According to AFAD, rainfall of up to 100 mm per square meter has fallen in the 2 provinces of Şanlıurfa and Adıyaman in the past 24 hours. Şanlıurfa and Adıyaman are home to about 2.7 million people and are also the areas affected by the earthquake disaster earlier last month that killed more than 48,000 people in Turkey and left millions homeless. Thousands of people in the area have had to live temporarily in tents and container houses. Many of them are already inundated. On March 15, at the Houston Space Center in Texas, NASA presented a costume model for astronauts participating in the mission to return to the Moon in 2025. The suit, developed by the company Axion Space, has superior features compared to older designs, allowing people to better explore space and the surface of the Moon. The newly announced skin is just a prototype. It is expected that a complete suit for training will be handed over to NASA by the end of this summer. It will also be tested in the International Space Station ISS and simulated environments. Currently, NASA is preparing other new instruments for the Artemis 3 mission, such as the lunar lander. Coming to international sports movement. At dawn this morning in Vietnam time, Real Madrid won 1-0 against Liverpool in the second leg in the round of 16 of the Champions League, thereby advancing to the quarter-finals of the tournament with a total score after 2 matches. 6-2, Real Madrid opened the match with a dominant position. Until the second half of the first half, Liverpool gradually regained the game. However, in the 78th minute, coach Jurgen Klopp's students had to concede a goal after Karim Benzema's goal. This was also the only goal of the match. In the end, Real Madrid won 1-0 at the Santiago Bernabéu home, overcoming Liverpool with a total score of 6-2 to enter the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Speaking after the match, Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti said, "We played a complete game. The whole team came in focused, created chances and got a good result. I think everyone knows our goal is to win the Champions League. We have to go through the quarter-finals, the semi-finals and finally the final." The draw for the quarter-finals of the Champions League for the 2022/2023 season will take place at UEFA headquarters in Nyon, Switzerland, at 1800 hours on March 17, Vietnam time. Recently, hundreds of monks and Buddhist followers have flocked to Dharamsala, a mountain town in northern India, to participate in prayers for the longevity of their spiritual leader, Germany Dalai Lama. As part of the ceremony, Tibetan women dressed in traditional costumes and danced outside Tsuglaghang Temple, where His Holiness the Dalai Lama resides and is one of the liveliest and most colorful monasteries in India. Lorena Rossi, a tourist from Brazil, shared, "When I come here, I clearly feel that I am being blessed with a divine blessing that can change my life." The 14th Dalai Lama is the spiritual head of Tibetan Buddhism. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989 and is considered one of the most influential people in the world. Recently, about 20 chefs from all over Libya gathered in the city of Sabrata, 70 kilometers west of the capital Tripoli, to work together to prepare a giant plate of food, an activity within the framework of the Festival of Honor Couscous, the traditional dish of this country. The couscous dish has a diameter of 4 meters, including 2,500 kilograms of couscous seeds steamed with the meat of 5 camels and vegetables. Libyans often eat this dish with a spoon or hand during special events and on New Year's Day according to the Muslim Hijri calendar. One festival participant named Khaled Zardi said, "I am from Tripoli. Couscous is a very tasty dish. I think others had a great day just like me." Couscous is not only a popular dish in Libya but also in other countries in North Africa. Ali Al-Futami, the organizers, said, "Recently, the countries of the Maghreb region, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco and Mauritania have submitted an application to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, to register the dish couscous as the intangible heritage of humanity." This effort was successful in 2020, but unfortunately Libya did not participate. Therefore, we actively organize activities to revive the Libyan Couscous Day. We want to send a message to the Libyan government officials as well as to UNESCO that couscous is also Libyan, just like other countries in the Maghreb region. This is the third year Couscous Day is celebrated in Libya. Recently, Czech man David Venkel set the record for the deepest dive, dived more than 50 m under Lake Sils in Switzerland without a wetsuit in cold weather. This 40-year-old man has exactly dived to a depth of 52.1 m without a snorkel or diving suit. In 2021, Venkel also set a Guinness World Record for the longest swim in an glacial lake in the Czech Republic. At Lake Sils, Switzerland, Venkel dived into an ice hole and took a sticker placed at a depth of 50 m prove he had reached that depth, before swimming back to the surface. When he got ashore, he bled and rested for a few minutes before opening celebratory champagne. Venkel was also taken to the hospital for a checkup, but the doctor confirmed there was no problem. Pavel Kallis, a supporter of Venkel who attended the dive, said Sils Lake has a temperature of 1 to 4 degrees Celsius. He enjoyed the moment a lot, but he also admitted to being quite nervous.